Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the news. Tensions have risen rapidly between North Korea and the United States since Trump took office in January. Already feeling isolated, Trump decided the best approach to the ballistic missile tests was putting sanctions on the country. North Korea is now lashing back with continuing the missile testings and threatening the United States with the creation and testing of a nuclear device capable of reaching America at, quote, anytime, anyplace. In recent news, Kim Jong-un believes the CIA is planning to assassinate him. North Korean representative at the United Nations, Kim Il-rong, warns the Trump administration that they are creating, quote, a dangerous situation in which thermonuclear war may break out at any moment. In recent news this past Tuesday, May 2nd, Apple briefly hit an all-time high share price, more than $776.59 billion, topping its previous market high of $774.91 billion. Apple is the only U.S. stock that holds a market value of over $700 billion. Despite their huge revenue drop in 2016 to under $646 billion, they say their sales have rebounded due to a greater than expected demand for the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. In other news, in the month of April, hiring in the U.S. rebounded by adding a whopping 211,000 jobs, more than 25,000 over the monthly average of added jobs since Trump took office at 185,000 jobs. The unemployment rate is at an all-time low in a decade at 4.4%. In more news, big-time retail stores are closing due to a larger online demand. JCPenney closing 138 stores, American Apparel closing at 110 stores, Sears and Kmart 150 stores, and Payless at over 400 retail stores. On May 3rd in Kabul, many civilians were injured and killed after a suicide attack on a convoy belonging to the NATO mission in Afghanistan. The Islamic State was said to be behind the attack. The attack has been speculated to be because of a non-nuclear bomb, aka the mother of all bombs, dropped on a tunnel complex used by the Islamic State. Now over to Michelle with a witness on the attack.
Thanks, Melissa. I'm here with a local who witnessed the event. Mr. Nunez, can you tell me about what you saw?
Well, I was shoveling, my usual job, and then a bunch of fire and explosions came out of nowhere. And then, I did the reasonable thing. I called the local authorities.
That was very brave of you, sir. Back to you, Melissa.
Back in the U.S., a California family has kicked off a Delta airline flight. A wife and her husband boarded the Delta flight late at night with their young daughter and infant 2-year-old son. They had put their older teen son on an earlier flight so they could use the teen's seat for their infant instead of holding him on their lap. When the flight was overbooked, Delta immediately went to the young boy's parents and said that since the seat was under the name of their teen son, they must remove their infant from his seat and hold him so another person can sit. When they refused, they were threatened with jail and foster care, then forced off the flight and left to find a hotel and a new flight for the next day. Now over to Michelle with an eyewitness.
Thanks, Melissa. I'm here with an eyewitness from the Delta flight where the event occurred. Mr. Flenderson, can you tell me about your experience on the flight?
Oh, my experience was pretty good, actually. I got that seat by the door, with the window, so much leg room. Oh yeah, and they gave me extra peanuts. It was a great experience.
No, sir. Can you tell me about what you saw from when the family was removed?
Oh yeah, that. At first I didn't really know what was happening, but I realized what they wanted. I was gonna give up my seat, but it was a really good seat, so I didn't really want to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Flenderson. Back to you, Melissa.
All of this happened around midnight with 2 children under the age of 5. In a statement, Delta apologizes saying, quote, we are sorry for what this family experienced. Our team has reached out and we will be talking with them to better understand what happened and come to a resolution. In Wall Street, over the past 10 days, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost about 78 points, closing at 20,836 points. The Nasdaq fell about 6 points, closing at 6,086 points, and the S&P 500 slipped 2 to close at 2,386 points. Finally, the new motion picture Guardians of the Galaxy 2 premiered this past weekend, raking in over $167 million in the box office. Here's Michelle outside the theater with some fans anxiously awaiting the premiere.
I'm here at the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 premiere. How long have you guys been waiting?
17 and a half hours!
Now that's dedication. Back to you, Melissa.
I'm Melissa Brennan, and that's the news.